Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the This Day podcast. My name is Megan, and I'm so excited that you would take the time to join us on this brand new episode of the podcast. This week, we are welcoming a special guest and a new friend, Brigitta Borinstein, to the podcast. She's going to bring some incredible tips to how we can live in a healthier lifestyle. So tune in right now to hear this incredible episode with our new sweet friend, Brigitta.
Totally. Oh my gosh. Well, if I were to meet you in a random coffee shop and be saying, "Hey, how's it going?" I would say my name is Brigitta Borinstein. A lot of people remember my name. I'm not named after The Sound of Music, but most people remember my name because there's a little one of the girls in The Sound of Music. Her name is Brigitta. I am 26 years old. I have a crazy little 5-month-year-old boy. Sorry, 5-month-year-old. See, you can tell I am a new mom. I have a 5-month-old boy named Russell. I'm married to my husband named Drew. And oh my gosh, I love making people feel better. I know. I don't know how else to put it more simply than that, but I have a health and wellness business where I connect people with, things that can fuel their bodies and make them feel ideally just feel their best. I believe that we were all created, God made you perfectly. God made all of us just perfectly to function perfectly and optimally. And I feel like life is too short to be tired all the time. So that is what I do, and I'm very passionate about putting support behind the products that we get and being a cheerleader in someone's corner. And then my podcast started a couple years ago because I do believe that wellness plays a huge part in how we show up. If you're energized, that's going to change how you serve the people around you versus if you're super tired all the time and not feeling your best and not feeling your most confident, that's going to change it too. So my podcast is it's just for fun, but I'm definitely not passionate about that. And our it's called Best You Can Be, and the mission is to cultivate confidence through leadership and wellness. So kind of just like marrying those two things together. I don't know. How was that, Megan?
I love it. I literally, now I want to watch The Sound of Music, and I didn't even make the connection between your name and the girl's name in The Sound of Music. So
Oh
now
my
I want to watch
gosh.
The Sound of Music. Very excited about that.
Great movie. I support that.
Very excited. And on that note, we're going to take a hard left to your podcast. So you talked a little bit about it in your intro, but talk about how you got started, like how your journey on that road to podcasting began, how like Best You Can Be kind of birthed, how it all started.
Um, okay. So, it's funny because I have gotten asked that before, and it's still something that I struggle. I need to just like sit and like, I don't know, write it out or something because I still struggle to put like make it a concise story that makes sense. But in a nutshell, I went to a military school for college. It was a very unique college experience. It was not necessarily my favorite, but it was something I was so grateful for. I'm grateful for it now. I was grateful for it when I was walking through it. 4 years of just a very, rigorous, challenging, structured experience. And the school was only 10% female. Um, and so I remember going through, and as a for a college student at a school like that, you're given tremendous leadership responsibilities because you learn all these military type things and how to do all sorts of things that are unique to going to a military school, and you learn that usually by students or called cadets who are ahead of you. And so I did a lot of that, training and teaching and things like that. I got really involved and I enjoyed it a lot. But kind of going through that and learning like, okay, what is Brigitta's leadership style? Like what is something, how do I lead in a way that feels like I am just 100% being true to who I am? And I just remember feeling or not feeling actually. I remember being aware of a lot of pressure to act a certain way because it was only 10% female. So like most people that I was seeing leading around me were, I guess maybe leading in a more masculine way than would be natural or normal for me. I'm a very bubbly, nurturing person. And, I remember two instances that really kind of solidified my passion for helping women, our age, really, truly just walk in the gifts and talents that God gave us. And like when you are walking in that, there is power. Like when we are really, truly just being in the two shoes that God has us in and not trying to be in somebody else's body, not trying to act somebody else's way. I really believe like the Lord just opens door after door after door. Not that he's withholding it from us, but like it's just like there's such a peace that you can get when you are just being who he created you to be. And I do believe that he gave women unique gifts and talents and a way of seeing things that is not better than, but just different from men. I remember I actually interviewed somebody on my podcast who phrased it so beautifully. She said that she believes women are uniquely gifted in the language of the heart. And I totally can get
Wow.
behind that. But anyway, to get back to the podcast, it came about because, here I was trying to be like, okay, well, I want to be me, not somebody else. And I want to be gifted in the language of the heart. I think that's beautiful. And my brother, he went to the same school as me, just at a different time. And he said, Brigitta, and he's also a Christian. He said, the women that I admire most in leadership in my job are the women who just lead like themselves. They're not trying to, they might be in a male environment, but they're not trying to act like that. They're just trying to be themselves. And then the other one was one of the people that I got to mentor and train. He was a young man, maybe 2 years younger than me. And he said, I had my doubts about you in leadership, but I really feel like you have just become such a mom to us. And he meant that as a compliment. He was like, I'm actually really grateful for that, that I learned how to just be myself. And, if that looked more momish, like, okay, great. Like that's impactful in its own way. So anyway, just fast forward, I had that whole experience of trying to figure that out for myself. And I realized that I was given a lot of help. I was given a lot of just good, faith-filled encouragement in my walk through learning how to lead like myself. And I wanted other people to have that too, because not everybody has that. Not everybody has someone in their corner encouraging them to not be like somebody else, not look to the left or the right, but to really just be who God created them to be. Not everybody has that. And I wish that weren't the case, but it's just kind of reality. And so I thought, well, shoot, I will just make a podcast and I'll encourage, whoever wants to listen to learn some practical leadership skills and to put them into practice. And, I think over time it can be a learned skill, but I do think like, I mean, you're a perfect example, Megan, like, you doing a podcast and putting yourself out there and everything you do, behind the scenes, like it's not easy, but you're able to do it as you. And like, that's what makes your podcast amazing. Cause like, there's nobody else out there like you. So long story, but that's kind of how it came about.
I love it. I think that's so sweet. And just getting to know you these past couple weeks, I think it's shown through in your personality because we've talked about it, like we're both of the younger generation, obviously. But you're being a mentor, you're being a guide for those that are coming up behind us that really don't have good role models to look at, or there's not somebody like coming up right now to encourage or uplift or be there for those young girls or young guys that need somebody to encourage them in this season. So I love it, Brigitta. I love it.
Thanks.
So
Oh, you're
sweet.
so encouraging.
But you also are so involved in health and wellness, which is so, so, so important, especially with everybody's crazy, busy lives and schedules. So what are some like small steps people can take to live in an easier, healthy lifestyle?
Ooh, um, hmm, that's a really good question. Small steps. Um, I would say, well, I do believe that it would be applicable to pray about. I think that's a small and easy step. I feel like sometimes and maybe this is just me, but I feel like sometimes in our relationship with God, it's we can sort of feel like, oh, well, who am I to ask God to get involved in all the tiny details? But I do believe He cares about every aspect of our lives, even if it's just us wanting to get a little energy, or even if it's just us wanting to have a healthy habit or something like that. So I do think I was praying about that, I think, this morning, even just like asking for the Lord to give us self-control, if that's something maybe we struggle avoiding sweets and we want to fix that. Okay, like it's okay to pray about it. So that's a small step. But no, some of my favorite little tiny habits that I do that I think really make a difference. Um, if I had to boil it down to just one habit, I would focus on trying to always just have protein, fat, and carb. And I did not introduce that to myself. I actually, a friend of mine named Leah is the one who helped me with that, because if we can just focus on balancing our blood sugar, which I feel like blood sugar is really only talked about in like older crowds, but it's so important no matter what your age is, because uh, it's important hormonally, and it's important energy wise to not have, a bowl of cereal for breakfast and then you have a high and then you have a crash, and then have a soda and then you have a high and then a crash, and then have a candy bar and then a high and then a crash, and you're just riding this roller coaster all day long. And those were dramatic examples, but you can spike your blood sugar from something that might seem healthy, but like just having a banana. Okay, well, if you want to have a banana, have it with, a protein and a fat. That was just something that has just become ingrained in me to where I don't even think about it necessarily now anymore. Just having always protein, fat, and carb, whether it's my breakfast, whether it's a smoothie that I'm making, adding a little avocado to it, or whether it's, if I want to have an apple, I'll have it with some almond butter. That way you can just be even keel all day long. And like, I just think, why not do that tiny little thing up front for yourself to, one, make a more satiating snack, but two, so that you can avoid that crash? Because with that crash, I feel like it shows up differently for all of us. For me, I'm just going to be totally, totally honest. When I have a crash like that, or when I am super tired, right, and when you have a blood sugar spike and then a drop, and we aren't always even aware of it, it's just like, oh man, it's 2 p.m. Like, I'm sleepy. And that's just kind of normal for a lot of us. But for me, that can make it hard for me to be positive and energetic. So if I want to be positive and energetic for all the people I get to see all day long, I'm going to do myself that tiny little favor and just always have a protein, fat, and carb. So that would be what I would say.
I love it. That's such good advice. And so take us back to the beginning. Like, how did you get started on this health and wellness like journey? Like, was it back in military school, or where did it start for you?
Oh, definitely started before then. I come from a pretty like health-minded family. So I actually work with my mom. So on the holistic, toxin-free lifestyle side of things, that's my mom. My dad, he was a surgeon, so very medical, and he comes from a pretty medical background. So if you can imagine, our dinner table conversation when I was growing up was usually very interesting. I actually would be kind of like leery of bringing friends over. I was like, okay, what weird thing are we going to talk about tonight? Um, but no, pretty much everyone in my family is sort of focused on that in a different way, and we all just love learning about it. But I think I stepped into my own journey. I was very competitive in track and field in high school, and I did that a little bit in college. But I just remember exploring on my own. I was maybe a junior or something in high school, and this was before, like, I didn't have an Instagram or anything like that. Like, I don't think it was popular to be gluten free. Now it's kind of like a little, it's sort of becoming a cool thing, I like to think. Um,
Yeah.
but I remember being like, huh, like, I love running and I'm putting a lot of work into my workouts, and I really want to, like, do well and compete and get better and better and better. Like, I wonder if I take gluten out of my diet, will I feel better? Like, I just sort of experimented with myself, and I think, nutrition and health sort of started for me there, just to do better in sports. But gosh, Megan, I have grown so much since then. Like, trust me, I have tried from that tiny little seed planting, I tried calorie counting. Hated that. I've tried, I've had plenty of ups and downs, which is why I'm grateful to do what I do now, because I feel like, okay, yeah, I know what it's like to not necessarily love what looks back at you in the mirror. I know what it's like to not feel great in your jeans or whatever. But that's where it started, was definitely just trying to do better in sports.
I love it. Well, that's like a good start though. Like you at least like took the time to figure out like what worked for you rather than just like throwing yourself at like, hey, everybody's doing the keto diet, so I'm gonna go full on keto. And then
Totally.
like, developing like not feeling well from that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I
I like
think that's really
what
good.
you just said. I like that about how it's pretty, we're pretty unique individuals.
Yes, definitely very unique.
Yeah.
But so one question that we ask everybody that comes on the podcast, and I just want to get your nuggets of wisdom on it, is what is keeping you present and just in the moment this day?
Like literally today.
Yeah.
What is keeping me present and in the moment today? That's pretty easy. I would have to say, I like that question, by the way, but I would have to say it's my little boy, Russell.
Oh, that's
He
so
is
sweet.
he is keeping me present because, and I just heard him cry in the background. I, we always have older people in our lives always tell us, I don't know, have fun while you're young, like life flies by, take advantage of things while you can, because life just flies by. And I was actually talking with a friend about this morning, and I realized, I think, like, I see Russell as such a gift from God right now for many reasons, but one of them because I've never seen time fly by faster in front of me. Like 5 months has gone by in the blink of an eye. So I feel like, okay, God, like this is such a good reminder that, yeah, our time here is short, and I do need to make the best of it. And I need to just continue to get better at being present, like you said, and not, fretting about the little things or stressing about stuff that doesn't matter. And that's hard. That is hard for me. I'm such a perfectionist at heart. I can easily get wrapped up in stuff. That's kind of a weakness of mine. I'm a very rigid personality, but having him in front of me all the time is just a constant reminder. Okay, Brigitta, like, you need to slow down. You need to soak in these days. You need to be present with whoever you're sitting down for coffee with, or whoever you're on Zoom with or texting with, like, just trying to be present. And that is definitely what is keeping me, in the moment today.
I love it. That's so sweet. And your little boy is so precious too.
Thanks.
So
I'm biased, but I think so.
now, Brigitte, where can everybody go to keep up with your podcast and with like all the things that you're doing with that?
Well, I have a separate Instagram for my podcast, but um mostly probably just Instagram. I am Best You Can Be without the E. So just Best You Can Be. That's my Instagram handle. And then my podcast handle is Best You Can Be Podcast, but also without the E. I just thought that would be a cute play on words because my name starts with the letter B. So,
I love it. Well,
yeah.
thank you so much for hanging out with us today. And I hope that this just encourages so many people because you are just such a light to anybody that talks to you.
No, thanks, Megan. I've already told you this before, but to give you a tiny little shout out, I love what you're doing. I love the mission you're on. And more importantly, I really love the heart that you have behind it. It's a pretty powerful thing.
Thank you so much. And I'm so thankful for you. So thank you.
Ditto.
Friends, thanks so much for tuning in today to another episode of the This Day podcast. I hope you took away some incredible nuggets of wisdom that Brigitte shared. And friends, we have some incredible things coming up within our ministry. We're headed on tour this fall for some incredible nights of worship and women's conferences. So I hope you plan to join us. You can head to the link in our bio, the link wherever you are listening to this podcast to find out the cities we are going to be in. And we are also headed to Israel in November, and we want you to come along with us. So come on out, click the link, find out where we are headed all throughout Israel, and come join us for a trip of a lifetime. And y'all, we are so excited to partner with EMF, the Educational Media Foundation, that is a part of K-Love and Air One. K-Love and Air One, they are an incredible company that has Christian media, and we are so thrilled to be a part of spreading the good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ. to more and more people. So we want you to be a part. If you are looking for a place where you want to thrive in your career, K-Love and Air One and the Educational Media Foundation is that spot. So click the link in the post to find out how you can be a part of EMF and K-Love and Air One. Know that you guys are so, so loved, that you are chosen by the God of the universe, and walk in that today.